Hello everyone, Roger once again with Creating with Your Spiritual Universe, CWYSU.com, CWYSU.com, and thanks for tuning in. And I want to welcome all new subscribers to the community. Thanks for joining the community, and welcome. And hopefully we can share and work together to enhance things within all of our lives. Today I want to talk about follow up to the previous video I made about the current times and the eclipse season. And I want to add, I said in that video I talked about using the times, the energies, and the all that is happening to help get rid of all the things that don't serve you. Now, if you're watching this video, these energies are potent. Like eclipse energies are potent for like 6 months. I talked to my friend Lauren. She said these are going to be, we're going to be feeling this for about 6 months. Meaning, based on that last video, any kind of work that you're doing, you're going to be assisted in that work. You're going to be assisted. Now, let's say you are watching this video and it's 6 months past. This is August. This is July 31st, 2018. And let's say you're watching this July 2019. No problem. The key is to start. Full stop. Start. That's all you need to do. Once you start, things will start coming. Things will start coming. Aligned action is so important. It's the action. Okay? It's the action. The eclipse, all those energies, they're just adjuncts to give you a little bit of assistance. But doesn't mean because maybe you're watching this video later on that, oh my God, I missed it. No. Starting. Action is power. Action is the most powerful thing. Action is power. Knowledge is not power. Because I know a lot of people that know a lot of stuff and they don't do anything with it. That's not power. Action is power. Knowledge is simply the potential for that power. But once you start putting the action and coupling with that knowledge, then you get power. And power in a good way, in a way that will assist you, not power over others. That's not the power I'm talking about. Not the power over others, but the power of love and the power to get things done, to make this place, this planet, this reality a better place, and it'll ripple out all throughout the galaxy, the universe, everywhere. Because we're learning about our power. One of the things we're going to find out, it's going to surprise people, is how powerful we are and how we ascribe those powers to things outside of us, and we're the ones with all the power that we think is sitting somewhere outside, in some god, in some deity, in some angel or whatever. We are the power, and we have to understand that. And this is not about ego. This is about understanding who we are as sovereign beings. That's all it is. Remembering who you are. Know yourself. Know yourself. And once you know yourself, then it doesn't matter what's out there, because you will just create what's out there, or you'll just rectify or whatever is out there. Okay? So let's talk about ancestors. One of the most important things that we need to do in our inner work is to address working with and what we can do for our ancestors. I'm not going to talk about how much our ancestors can do for us and help us, because many of us are familiar with that. We are the progeny of all that came before us. We are the crowning glory. You are the crowning glory of every ancestor that came before you. There's a little bit of them in you. The DNA, the cellular memory, is tremendous. There's this man that says, his name is Sadhguru, and he says, you think that your mind is all powerful and it knows everything, and it's not doesn't know everything, but it's all powerful and it's the most powerful tool you have. And it retains all your memory. The amount of memory in your mind pales to the amount of memory in each and every cell in your body. Because as he says, you might not know what your grandmother, your great grandmother looked like. And you might not have that memory in your mind, but it's in your cells, because her nose is sitting right on your face. Your cells know. Your DNA know. Far more knowledge, far more information in each cell than it is in any one mind. Okay? So, one of the things we need to do is straighten out the house for our ancestors. They have a lot of power, but we have a lot of power too. And so we need to remember that power. What can we do for our ancestors? And it ripples into our life, because what you do for them changes and improves your life now. This is not, oh, I'm doing this for my ancestors. You're doing this for yourself. Because a lot of the stuff that you're going through and you're wondering why they keep repeating is coming from the lineage. And once you correct that, you'll start seeing your life change differently. And you'll be correcting it for everybody after you. And they are begging us. They can't really tell us. Our ancestors can't really tell us this. They are not allowed. They're not allowed. So I want to be a spokesman for them, if I can. And speak for them so that you can be empowered to do what you need to do for yourself and for them, because you're all one. You're all one. When you leave here and you die, you become one of them. Okay? So, you know, it's just another frequency, and that's the other thing. Don't fear death. Death is just a frequency. Death is a part of who you are. It's just they separated it out, and you are afraid of it because you think it's something that's foreign, and then when you die, you're gone. No. How do you explain your ancestors? You see what I'm saying? How do you explain your ancestors? Okay? So never fear death. Never fear death. Because right now you're dealing with that part of yourself that is, I don't want to, okay, I'll say it. The information is coming. You're dealing with that part of yourself that is in that frequency. And that part of yourself has an effect on anything, on everything. It's a part of you. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just a part of who you are. This is part of the self-discovery. This is part of the self-discovery. And part of the self-discovery is that death is just a frequency. Nothing to fear. It's just a transfer from one reality to the next one. And it does matter what you do while you're alive in this reality, because it also helps to set up your reality when you go to the next one. So your ancestors reside in your subconscious, but that's not the only place they're at. They're in other places too, but their home base is right here. Home base is right here. Okay? So here's how you can help them. I'm going to talk about 3 categories of ancestors and what you need to do. And I'm going to recommend, not only recommend, it's not a recommendation. If you do what I'm going to ask, what I'm going to instruct you to do here in this video, you must use the clearing video and learn how to clear with source energy from the great central sun. No other energy. Okay? No other energy. If you say, oh, I'll just clear with this, no. You clear with source energy from the great central sun and use the video. You know, you want to stay with the program. Use the video, clearing with source energy from the great central sun, where I explain why you do that. And in there's contract soul revocation built into it, because this is one of the things you got to do with your ancestors. Okay? So I'm going to link that video to this. So you just go down, you can just click it, and then also if you want a Word document of the clearing, so that you can just take it out and do the clearing and read it out instead of going to the video every time, just send me an email at cwisu2@gmail.com and I'll send it to you. cwisu2@gmail.com and I'll send you that document. Okay? So the first thing you want to do is, and you're dealing with the bloodline, ancestors, soul, they're all connected. You're clearing out every malevolent entity out of the bloodline. With that clearing that you'll see in the video, you're doing all of this, the first step. You get rid of all those things that are coming from the outside that are not there for your good and that are leeching off your energy and feeding off of you through your ancestors. Get rid of them. All throughout the bloodline. All with just intent. All with just intent. Nothing more. The next thing you're going to do, so that's step one, getting rid of all of these entities and all of these attachments and things that no longer serve you. Gone. Get rid of them. Then you're going to do step two. Now, you must understand that this is the new consciousness. We look at our ancestors in a very reverent fashion. And not all of them were good people when they were here. Most of them were. But not all of them were good people when they were here. What I mean by good people, and I'll define that so that we don't have confusion about what I mean by good, because good could mean anything. Let's just say when they were here, they looked out for themselves, and they didn't care if they had to do so at the expense of others. They would step on other people. They would destroy other people if it meant that's what they needed to do to get what they wanted. They did whatever it took to survive, and we don't blame them for that. But at all costs possible, including harming another person, that you don't want, because that's sitting in your bloodline. Those activities are sitting in your subconscious, and they have an effect on you. And your subconscious is being used as a dumping ground as a result of what they had done. So you have to give them an ultimatum, because this is where your power comes in. For those we'll just call them the ancestors that were malevolent. I'm going to give you what I do. I'm going to tell you what some people do. They just boot them right out, and you have the power to do that. Get out, boom. You're using my subconscious as a dumping ground, and all your stuff is affecting my life. I can't get anything. I run into the wrong people all the time, because I run into the wrong people all the time, the worst relationships, because you owe some entity out there something, and you have to try to rope me into suffering, and turn me into working and serving that entity on that entity's plantation. So you out. That's what some people do. I don't recommend that. They screwed up. You give them a choice. You go, you can't stay here, but I'm going to give you a choice. You can go to Source. Source is not about punishment or hell. None of that. Because hell is what you created for yourself before you came here, and now you're trying to make me live that hell that you created for yourself. That's hell, ladies and gentlemen. That's what hell is. So, you got to go to Source, and I'm giving you a choice. You don't have to go to Source, or you can get out. And you line them up and you tell them like that. Boom. Now, you don't have to be able to see it. You might not be able to see it or feel it. You just do it with your intent. And you clear thoroughly using that clearing that I'm going to post down below. You clear thoroughly. You get rid of them. The next thing you do, after you do that, and you get, if now sometimes there's a lot of energy being expended, and you can't do it all at once. If you can't do everything at once here, for most people you'll be able to, but sometimes it's a lot. If you've got a lot of heavy ancestral burdens, you might have to do it in a couple of different steps. 1 week you do it, and then you go back, you give it a week to integrate, and then you go back and you do it again to finish it. But anyway, once you've done that, and if you can't finish, you just basically say all the malevolent ancestors you're not cut off from having any influence. You just have to sit there and do nothing until I can finish up the work. With your intent, it will be so. Okay? Now, your third step is dealing with your second kind of ancestors. These are people that were good people. They just made a couple mistakes, and particularly they gave their power away. Meaning, they served things outside of themselves and they ignored their spirits. The one thing that you should never ignore, and maybe it was a lesson they needed to learn, that needed to come into the gene, so you just into the gene pool, into the ancestry. So I don't know, I'm just saying, so that you could know that that's not the way to do things. That you should never, ever, ever forget about your spirit, your deep self, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, because that's your source self. And if you forget and you ignore your spirit, you forget the true creator, you forget the divine mother, you forget everything. And so they made that mistake. They're good people. So all you do is you go, I revoke all the agreements that were made by my ancestors who gave their power away to gods or angels or devils or whatever. Whatever you want to lay, it doesn't really matter. They did not stand in their power. That was a mistake. So you're going to come in and rectify that for them. They need you to do that because they cannot do that from there and they can't tell you. But now you just go, any and all of the agreements that have roped these wonderful people into into serving these beings and living a life of disempowerment because they didn't know better, I revoke all of it. And then you give them an option. Sometimes they might need some healing, and if you can't, so you use the energy available to you. And you send them up for healing, and they come right back down. Many of you who can see this work happening, if you can't, just trust the process. If you can't, you'll probably see them pop up, and in no time they pop down. Because time is not a factor when you're doing this kind of work. You're working on the 6th, 7th, 8th dimensional level. That's why sometimes you probably can't see it, because if most of your consciousness or your focus is in a 3 density level, and you're just starting to move out of that and activating your other senses, your clairaudience, ability to hear in the spiritual world, your third eye, the ability to see the things that are not of this physical reality but of a less dense reality, your ability to feel. And all those senses, your clairsentience, your clairaudience, your clairvoyance, and your, all those things haven't kicked in that. You might not be able to see it yet. So it's okay. No problem. I am not one that sees much. I'm not a seer. I'm a feeler. I utilize claircognizance. Like, I will just know something, and don't ask me why I know it. I just know it. So that's kind of how I work. And I hear really, really well. I know the difference between the voice of my spirit and a voice that's not my spirit. So I can hear really well. So we all have different gifts. And don't look at other people's gifts and say, oh, I wish I had that. You have the gifts that you need because before you decided to come here, you had it all planned and all set. So don't worry about what other people have. Just work on your own stuff. Okay? So if you can't see this happening, trust the process. And those ancestors will be healed, and they'll stay. Right? They'll stay. They'll stay. And then you have your last set, which is most of them. These are the benevolent ancestors. These are the people who are fully benevolent, and when you need help, they're likely the ones that are going to be helping you because they don't have any cords and agreements that prevent them from doing so. Those are probably the ones that show up to help you when you need stuff if you do work with them. So you want to empower them and then just make a commitment to work with them and strengthen the relationship with them. Just with your intent. And then they will start working with you and start bringing things in, because this is just the first layer to kind of get the house in order. You're getting the house in order, and then once the house is in order, you can go to the deeper layers. And so now your ancestors are in a position where they are free, sovereign, completely, because of what you have done. And so now they can bring the layers of all the things that you need to do. Working with your deep self or divine self, and working with your inner child, your ancestors, your divine self, your inner child, the planet, the divine mother, source creator. Now you've got that lineup. This is the sequence. This is the sequence to kind of lining things up, because you want to line this up properly. You, your inner child, your ancestors, your subconscious, your divine self, the earth, the planet, the universal mother, source creator, all of that, universe, all of that, you're lining up with that. So now you can have this enlightenment and wisdom come through you, because you're disconnecting from the falsehoods, and now you're connecting to the things that are genuinely real and connected to your original self, your source self, your sovereign source self, because that part of you is sovereign. But it does not impose itself on you. It's saying, hey, you need to be sovereign. I can help you if you want to. Okay? So, once you've done that, now you've set the table for future layers of transformation, levels of awakeness. Okay? And levels of awareness. And so when you do this, pay attention, be mindful of things that come up. Things that come up. What do I mean, things that come up? Things that come up for you to deal with. Thoughts will become, oh, and you go, oh, okay, yeah, kind of, oh, that's something, maybe I should look into that. They'll come. And then you go, hey, please give me confirmation that this is true, that this is what I need to deal with. And now you have to be mindful. Because just as you say that, you might look at your clock and it's 3:33. You might turn the radio on, and I say this, and you'll hear a message that's kind of like what you might step outside your door and see something. You might be sitting at work and the people next to you are talking about the very, very same subject that you. These are the kinds of ways that you're communicated with. Never restrict yourself on how you should be communicated with. You might get someone walk up to you and say, hey, they might flat out tell you, you should do this. You really should. I've had that happen a couple of times. People just flat out come up to me like, oh yeah, you should do that. Or they don't know it's something that I've been being guided to. They just know, they just come up and they talk about it, and I go, oh, okay, there's my confirmation that that's the right way I should go. That's the right direction to go in. So this is sort of just general, but really good stuff. Really good first step. You know, and if you run into anything and you need advice and counsel and even help with, you know, a blockage that you've got going on, contact us at cwisu.com, and we'd be more than happy to help. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and until the next video, defy the taboo against finding out who you truly are.